Welcome, everybody. I would like to call the Operations Committee for the County of Renfrew for Tuesday, November 14th to order. As we gather here this afternoon, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of Council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the First Nations. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. We are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Has roll call been taken?
Yes, thank you, and we have quorum.
Thank you. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest in any matters before us this afternoon? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion for the adoption of the minutes of the previous meetings held October 10th, 2023 and October 25th, 2023. Moved by the member from Arnprior, seconded by the member from Laurentian Valley. Any comments or questions on those two, our regular meeting and the special meeting? Seeing none, all those in favor? And those are carried. We have no delegations before us this afternoon, so we'll move right on to item number 7, the Public Works and Engineering Department and the department report. Mr. Perkins, please.
Thank you, Chair, and through you, good afternoon, committee. My report starts on page 8. So item 1 is the Treasurer's Report. So attached as Appendix 1 is the copy of the September 2023 Treasurer's Report for the Public Works and Engineering Department, and you'll find that on page 11. Item 2 is the Monthly Project Status Report. And of course, that's attached as Appendix 2. Additional project-specific information will be provided in the divisional reports, and that status report is on page 13 and 14 of your package. Item 3 is the Capital Project Variance Report, and that's attached as Appendix 3, and on pages 15 and 16 of your report. And finally, item 4 is the Policy PW22, which is the naming of bridges and culvert policy. So attached as Appendix 4 is Policy PW22, naming of bridges and culverts, which staff have developed. This initiative is an opportunity to honor the heritage of the area. Staff are requesting that comments be returned to myself by January 15th in order to be considered as part of the final policy to be presented to Operations Committee and County Council in February of 2024 for approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. I will move back to, before resolutions, I will move back to item number 1, the Treasurer's Report. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, item number 2, the Monthly Project Status Report. Comments or questions? Item number 3, the Capital Program Variance Report. And seeing none, item number 4, Policy PW22, naming bridges and culverts policy. Just a note that I believe in the past we've had a bylaw that covered this off, or we didn't have anything. Mr. Perkins.
Yeah, sorry to share. There's been no policy or bylaw for this. I think you're referring to the encroachment policy that's in Mr. Hanrath's report.
I'm confused.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. So input from any member, and obviously that'll go to the review for County Council at the end of the month. So I'll move on to item number 5, resolutions. Mr. Kelly, please. Or Mr. Perkins.
Well, I got the microphone on, so I may as well keep talking. Thank you, Chair, and through you. So good afternoon, committee, and good to see you once again. So as I mentioned, it doesn't matter, I mentioned this morning at the DMP committee, part of the process that we'd like to engage with you on this year is a bit of a review of our 2023 accomplishments at the different committee levels, and a look forward to 2024. We believe as we move into the budget workshops that reviewing our successes this year, and again, what we are building in terms of a success is building a report card of our strategic plan later this year. But as we build our budgets, and I believe Mr. Perkins and crew have gone through their budgets with finance already. I have yet to review it yet. It is very helpful for us to sit together as a committee and take a quick peek at 23, but a forward-looking view at 2024 to see if we're on the right track, on the right path, on the right trail, as we move forward with our planning for our budget. There may be items of interest or topics of interest thematically that this committee might want to see our staff venture down, and we haven't heard that yet. Often when we build our committee reports, it's staff recommendations based on things we've heard or things that are happening in the community. But you may have something that you might point out as saying, why don't we do this, and why don't we do that, and maybe concentrate on those areas. So with that, I've asked the directors to come up with a business plan as a compendium of ideas, as suggested, I guess, on pages, starting on pages 19, and I believe Mr. Perkins will walk through that somewhat with you. But that's where we're at. Bit of an interactive session if need be, and to hear from you again if we're on the right track. So with that, Chair, I'll turn it back to you and to Mr. Perkins.
Thank you for that. So I guess I will ask Mr. Perkins to review the proposed business plan that's in here.
Thank you, Chair. And I'll actually start with the recommendation that the Operations Committee directs staff to bring the business plan for all relevant divisions under the purview of the Operations Committee to the 2024 budget workshop and planning meetings, including any suggested revisions or conceptual projects or areas of concentration.
Can I get a mover and seconder for the resolution? Moved by the member from Horton, seconded by the member from McNabb Braeside. Mr. Perkins.
Yes, thank you, Chair. And as Mr. Kelly alluded to, the background here is we're trying to become a little more interactive with our committees and have some engagement from both council and committee. So as you'll see on page 19 is the business plan for Public Works and Engineering. Very proud to say that this is the entire group minus two very important people. Barry McIntyre, who's our patrol supervisor in Cobden, and Miss Evelyn Van Stark missed out on the picture. So that's the two most important people that missed out, but that is the entire Public Works and Engineering crew in that photo. So we're very proud of that. We got together for a celebration barbecue with everyone, and it was well received. So the department overview, as you can see, right now we're responsible for 24 traffic signals. Our annual capital program is in the vicinity of almost 30 million. Our annual maintenance programs are 6.6 million. There's 45 staff located at 7 year-round and 2 winter-only locations. There's 86 vehicles and large equipment pieces. There's 20 different plow beats that our crews maintain. Right now, on a 5-year average, we're using around 24,000 tons of salt, and we're using about 8,000 tons of sand. As the CAO alluded to earlier, we are married to our asset management plan. We follow it as best we can. We'd like to consider it a Bible, but we do have some leverage in there. So as you know, it was in 2014 that the county completed their asset management plan. So we use that as the road work for all our projects going forward, be it bridges, culverts, and there's a plan in there of how we maintain and replace those assets. And of course that makes us conform to the regulations of 58817, which is the Ontario reg for asset management plans. On page 21, you'll see what the difference in a capital project and a operations is. So obviously, as you know, our large projects, so our road works, our bridges, our culverts, we do them on a capital plan. So they're usually farmed out to a contractor. Our in-house staff oversees the projects for the most part. But as you can see, they're very large projects, large culverts or large paving projects. Our operational is our day-to-day stuff, our lawn mowing, our shouldering, as you can see here is a plow truck doing standard winter operations. So that's just ongoing, and as I said earlier, that's $6.6 million a year we use for that. 2023 was a fantastic year for both Public Works and Engineering Group. You'll see that we completed 42.73 kilometers, and this doesn't include scratch coat. Scratch coat is what most people would call their patching or whatever. With the County Renfrew, we go into some areas that they may be a long way out from rehab, and we actually just do an overlay on those just to get us through till the actual date when it's going to be repaired according to the asset management plan. And as you can see from the $23.8 million that Taylor's group and Rick's group have spent, this is the projects that these are programs that we use. So some might be a microsurface, some may be an overlay, some may be a mill and pave. Of course, a pulverize and pave is a huge job. Basin surface is big. Reconstruction. So if anyone ever wants any more information on that, you can certainly see myself or Taylor or Rick, and we would love to brag about what we do, because they do it well and it's well done. So this year, of course, they completed 3 bridges at a cost of $2.6 million. Culvert replacements were 7, and 6 of those were actually done by our day labor crew. So you'll see here now in a little bit, there's a photo of what the day labor crew is capable of. Designs are commenced for ongoing and future projects. So Taylor's already had his staff now involved in projecting for next year and the year after for what large projects are coming down the pipe. We've also implemented new electronic permitting software this year in the engineering and public works group. So that's been well received from almost all our contractors that deal with us on a daily basis. You just use our website and you can access our permitting software. And the gentleman that looks after it used to have reams and reams of paper, and now thankfully it's electronic. Also, Taylor's group commenced a 2-year transportation master plan. Very, very proud of this document. It's going to take us 2 years to get it done. The County of Renfrew never had a transportation master plan before, so we're excited to see what comes of it. And of course, the trail system was moved over to Public Works and Engineering. And as you can see, there's just quite a lot of work to be done there as well. And between Taylor and Anthony Hobbs, our coordinator of trails, and then in concert with our Public Works group, they've been doing some amazing work at maintaining the trail system throughout the County of Renfrew. We included this photo here on page 23 of a Mansky Swamp culvert, and this was a rehabilitation. There was a number of options presented to us for this project that none of them were very good. The photo gives you a false sense of how deep that is, but that's almost 30 feet or 10 meters in the ground. And it's on Combermere Road, so it would have been a massive detour through Barry's Bay to do the work. So through Taylor and his group again, and in concert with Daryl Sobolski, who's our supervisor of construction, they came up with this liner. So this is the first time this liner has ever been used in Eastern Ontario. Obviously, no effect on traffic. It was. I can't explain how proud we are of the group that did this. This is our day labor crew. We actually give them the projects that we feel are too difficult for a contractor. Believe it or not, this project here would have been. Well, it was never done in Eastern Ontario, so it took a lot of effort and a lot of learning from to do it. The liner itself comes from Dubai. That's because the company is centrally located in Dubai, so they had to ship it all the way to Montreal, and then it had to went to Toronto on a train and then came up on a truck. And but yeah, it's an amazing project. If you ever want to see any more or ask questions, we have lots of photos, and I'm sure Darryl and his crew would love to brag about this, because this is a one in. We may use it some more, because there's a couple other places in the county that could avail of this. So for 2024, our goals, pending a budget approval, in quotation marks, of course, we're planning on doing 83.43 kilometers of road at a planned capital cost of $29 million. Total bridges planned for next year are 7. The capital costs on those are $7.4 million. As I said, Taylor has designs that are out to consultants right now that'll be ongoing, so we'll have tighter budget numbers for in 2025. So that's $352,000. We're planning on doing 10 culverts next year at a cost of $10 million. Culvert design and planning still ongoing is another $680,000. And we do, as best we can, try to assist our municipal partners in small culvert designs. So one of the things that with the realignment of our engineering group, Taylor and his group can do small culvert designs they can do the hydrology on it and make sure that they're right sized. So that's an option that we're hoping that our municipal partners will pick up on. So instead of having you guys have to go to a consultant and spend thousands of dollars to get a small culvert looked at, then Taylor and his group are for rent at a cheaper cost. Trail system, again, this is in Taylor's bailiwick and Anthony Hobbs. They're planning on spending $1.2 million next year, opening up and rehabilitating trails. They would like to do some new build trail development. Rehabilitation of bridges. As you know, there's quite a number of bridges on the trail system, And end of year, they're hoping to open the newly sectioned up in the garrison, so that's really good. And then the operations division, of course, they do all the operational work, so all their lawn, roadside mowing, shoulder repairs, brush removal, painting, dust suppression, farm fencing, legal, everything. They do quite a bit of operational work. Of course, they do snow and ice control on 816 kilometers of road, and thankfully, they are well within the minimum maintenance standards for Regulation 23902. So that's a feather in their cap to continue doing that. As I alluded to with trail systems, much similar to a linear asset of a roadway. Taylor's group is continually doing that in concert with the Public Works group, because the Public Works group are actually now doing the grading and the brushing and those sorts of things when it doesn't take away from the actual road infrastructure. Small culvert replacements, fuel inventory management system will be implemented in 2024. So we're going to have electronic fuel control systems at our 4 depots. Obviously, in 2023, we've also moved to canoe purchasing, which is all electronic online for us, and we continue with their fleet management. And then in 2024, some of the considerations and opportunities that we look through the group and chatted amongst ourselves. Some of these are lofty goals, but we feel that it's a roadmap to where we can get to. So like infrastructure investment, again, as I alluded to earlier, our asset management plan is our greatest strategy. For us in Public Works and Engineering, the asset management plan is our strategy. That's how we figure out what roads we're doing, what bridges we're doing. It's all on a proper planned system of upkeep. So we want to continue investing in the road and bridge maintenance improvement, and of course any improvements are critical. And we would like to seek funding from government sources, grants to improve rural road networks while enhancing safety. So we are always ear to the ground for any possible grant opportunities. Winter maintenance, we'd like to explore some innovative technology for more efficient snow and ice control, possibly optimizing plow routes, minimizing our environmental impact, that sort of thing. Digital connectivity, as you know, we're in the connected world now, and we would really like to collaborate more with our telecommunications providers and government programs to improve digital infrastructure in rural areas. So you'll see a lot of fiber is going in all our rural areas. So obviously our permitting, our central permitting now has helped with that as well, our electronic permitting. And of course, the more, as I said to you, the more connected we all are, later in life, once vehicles become autonomous and electric or hydrogen or whatever they are, like everything is going to have to be connected, right? So that's one of the things that we want to make sure that we're not bleeding edge, or not bleeding edge, but we're leading edge for sure. Sustainable initiatives, we'd like to promote environmentally friendly transportation options. We would certainly like to encourage the use of electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles as part of any sustained transportation practices, even though geographically we know that the county of Renfrew is huge and that sort of thing, but within different quadrants and things of that nature, our development and property group are actually going to start applying for EV chargers. So that'll be a great asset to have here at the county office, and who knows, later in life we can expand it out to other areas, because we do, as you said, we have 7 different areas that we work out of. So that would be fantastic. One of the things that, I mean, it's a lofty idea, but later in life again is you're seeing it. Unfortunately, San Francisco has canceled their autonomous vehicle programs, but San Francisco actually had electric vehicles going around the city as taxis. So what they did was they created a small bus service, essentially. These electric cars would stop at certain areas and pick people up and bring them around. So we're not that far away from it. Once they work out the snow problem in the winter for slippery roads and things of that nature, you'll see a lot more of it. So there's lots of sustainable initiatives in that state. We certainly want to continue working with our municipal partners. Since I've been here now 5 years, and when I first came, there was what I felt was a disconnect between the public works of the county of Renfrew and the public works of each of the lower municipalities, our partner municipalities. So right now we try to get together once a year with them and make sure that those ladies and gentlemen know what our plans are for the following year. And not only that, we give them the subsequent year's plans, so they know what is in our 10-year plan. They come in once a year, and we try to visit and go out and meet as many of them as we can each year, just to find out what they're doing in their home areas and what we're doing. So right now, like we're creating synergies with the town of Petawawa on Murphy Road, where they want to do some major upgrading to the road, and we were actually just going to do a major upgrade, but we're holding while we're waiting for Petawawa to do their thing. So there's opportunities to be there. So one of the other things is the tourism and economic development. So by improving our transportation assets, so what we've seen now in the county of Renfrew, as you guys know, I'm a motorcyclist, but also the pedal bike Tour de Bonus Share has become very popular amongst pedal bikes, not even just in Eastern Ontario, but throughout Ontario and beyond. They're coming for this Tour de Bonus Share pedal bike race, and again, they're on the county road infrastructure. So it behooves us to have the hardened shoulders and the nice pavement and those things. And I know the bicycle group is they're very advocates for all of this. So, but again, and then the other thing is the Ride the Highlands motorcycles. During the summer, we're seeing a lot of people come through here on motorcycles and taking advantage of some really, really great county infrastructure, and it's making the county of Renfrew more of a destination than a pass-through, so it's good for everybody. Workforce development, again, we want to invest in training to retain our skilled transportation professionals. As you know, Taylor will be a professional engineer soon, and we also have another engineer in training. We have a number of techs, so keeping those ladies and gentlemen, you know, on the edge, we won't say the bleeding edge, but on the edge of technology and the skills that they need to continue training. I'm sure we're going to lose some people and gain some people over time, but educating people is never a loss. They may lose to us, but they might gain somewhere else. So it's always essential to have a well-trained workforce. Data analytics and management. So with the realignment of the Capital Works Group, we are compelled to bring back a report to committee in 3 years' time with tangible savings. What Taylor's group is going to do in terms of large culverts design and stuff, we're going to do it all in-house. So using our data analytics and management, we will bring that back to you and show you a data-driven approach to how we're going to save potential savings in monies. And then goals, again, pending the budget approval, is we would like to have the electronic road patrol software implemented. Obviously, in operations, we want to continue all our programs as we identified in the Thursday meeting, where we explained to you all the levels of service that are required from us. We're constantly looking for new technology enhancements to the fleet. So hybrid vehicles, EVs, CNG. It's unfortunate that I'm fairly well connected with some public works people. People have tested stuff, and it's not working out as they had hoped. So electric snow plows, for example, the city of New York had 100 electric garbage trucks, because obviously their sanitation departments are the ones that do the snow plowing. So in the summers, the electric garbage trucks were fantastic, but they couldn't push snow in the winter. So, and they experimented with them for 5 years, so they've moved back to diesel, sadly. And compressed CNG, so compressed natural gas trucks, are still, they're in their infancy, but they're being well used in Colorado. Again, they don't have any issues. The issues were with the filling stations. So there had to be high-speed fills. If not, like if you're just a regular car, CNG gas station, you can fill up like in 20 minutes, but a large truck takes 8 hours. So there's all kinds of these little bumps in the road, but lots of people are overcoming them. So I'm quite confident that the County of Renfrew, we can start doing stuff like that. And then finally, our main goal is to maintain this trail network, advance it, and again, making it a destination for people to come and enjoy it. As most of you that do use it, where the stone dust is fantastic for bicyclists and even just walkers and stuff like that. So having a multi-use trail through your community like the County of Renfrew has is very fortunate. So we look forward to expanding on that. And that's our goals and hopefully our objectives for the next few years. And again, as the CAO alluded to, we really want some feedback from committee and council. You know, is there some things that you'd like to see us do that we can do within budget? Got to do it within budget, and or not unless you can find some special money somewhere that we can make some special projects. So, but again, for us, when I was fortunate enough to sit down with the CAO and we were trying to strategize how we could do a proper business plan, and as I alluded to, thematically, we can, you know, advance our trails, do some roads, harden shoulders and stuff like that, but strategically, our our strategy is to follow the asset management plan. So we can work from that and hopefully expand on it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Perkins. So any comments or questions on, with respect to this resolution and more importantly, the business plan? And I would say specifically on the review of the 2023 achievements and the 2024 considerations and opportunities. Member from Laurentian Valley.
And looking from 23 to 24, I think you've got a great list of goals to try and achieve, and hopefully will achieve. And I think your infrastructure is probably the biggest. It was number 1 on your list. That cannot be afforded to be let go. One thing that I'm not clear on is whether ditching is an individual item that should be included, or if it comes with culvert replacement, road reconditioning, rehabilitation, or whatever. So if you could please.
I will pass that along to Steph.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Doncaster, to Councillor Watt. In terms of the maintenance side of the program, there's a lot of times where we're doing ditching separate and culverts separately. So the any culverts that are for entrances are the homeowner's responsibility, except where they're taken care of in a capital project. So they are separate most of the time. The culverts that cross the road are taken care of by operations, the smaller ones, less than 3 meters. And again, they would be on an individual basis, whether they're done in conjunction with some of the ditching in the area or separate.
Okay, supplementary?
Yes, I guess one of the areas was concerning water sitting in the ditches forever, cattails growing up, blocking vision for access onto the main road or whatever, in that respect too.
Mr. Baldock.
Thank you, Chair Doncaster, and to Councillor Watt. So there are locations where cattails will end up staying for a long period of time. We do make sure that they're not blocking the view, that you're pulling up to the stop bar or to the stop sign or to the proper spot on the road and make sure your visibility is clear. The issue with why they're constantly there is in some areas there's not sufficient drainage, and I know the Laurentian Valley in some areas has similar challenges, and we've worked with the township in trying to do the best to get water moving. But in some areas where there's not sufficient grade for drainage, or where some of the systems are surcharged, where some of the piping is higher than what the ditches are, there are areas where there might be some that cannot be removed, but it's very few and far between. They're on a regular program now as far as ditching. Now, it does take up to 7 years to get through the whole system because we just started the new program a few years ago, but we're working through and doing our best.
Okay, thank you for that. Just a point on the 2023 achievements, I think we all recall over the last number of years, and I think primarily through some of our budget discussions, that the aggressive plan that Public Works has put forward through the budget process, we haven't been able to achieve in past years. So I think it's nice to see that for 2023 that Public Works was able to achieve the goals that they'd set forward for rehabilitation and construction projects. The 2024 considerations and opportunities, I was thinking of something. Oh, there's a new program, I might have this wrong, Ontario EV Charge On. So there is funding. I know that a number of municipalities have looked at EV chargers in the past and it was cost prohibitive to do it. And I don't know how this new program falls in line, if that will make it more beneficial or cheaper to do. So I just wanted to point that one out. I remember that one. So Mr. Kelly?
That wasn't necessarily a question, but I'll reference that, and thank you, Chair. At the D&P committee this morning, it was referenced, so Economic Development has identified some sites on municipal and county-owned lands where they may be applying for those EV grants moving forward.
Okay.
Just as an FYI.
Perfect. Any other comments on the business plan? Member from McNabb-Braeside.
Thank you, Chair. So just a little general feedback, being that coming up to the 1-year anniversary of being on council, I'm very impressed with the performance of the whole Public Works Division. I think I agree with your assessment. I think you got tremendous crews taking care of interesting things like culverts. But with meticulous detail, and it's very comforting to see that. So it's my general comment. I do have a few questions, Mr. Chair. So just in a general way, with the operations budget of $6.6 million, for example, are there any particular pressures that you feel you're going to be under in 2024? That are out of the ordinary. One line item that I noticed was repair on the equipment. We're pretty much very close to the full year budget after 9 months, and we're actually experiencing a similar sort of thing in my municipality. So I'm just wondering if that's a trend, or is there any other pressures are going to be putting up that operations budget for 2024?
I think one of the things that we've been seeing recently is the large increase in costs on new equipment. And in some cases, I know staff has looked at spending some significant money on refurbing or repairs to some of the existing equipment in order to extend the life of them. But maybe I'll throw it back to staff to elaborate on that one.
Thanks, Chair Doncaster. Appreciate that. For the operations budget, the parts prices have gone up. We have one of the best salt contracts in the province right now. Luckily, we did a 10-year salt contract, but that has yearly increases, so that's always a pressure. Fuel prices is generally talked about year to year, but those would be the main ones. But we have our fleet is in fairly good condition, so we're hopeful that, and actually the canoe program was very successful. We have one of the items for sure when we re-tendered the heavy-duty trucks. The price per truck was down $10,000 for each truck. Now they're quite expensive units, but again, $10,000 per unit, that's quite a bit, and it's later on in the year. So typically there might be an increase. So we did fairly well there. So there's some pressures and some benefits that hopefully will offset each other going forward.
Supplementary.
Yeah, so just to follow up, so then the main issue with the repair budget was parts in particular? Through you, Chair?
Yeah, the majority of those costs are repair costs. So there's no capital in there. They're basically the repair, the parts costs.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just give one example. Just locally for my municipality, we had a loader, and I may have the numbers a little bit off, but replacement of $250,000 that was scheduled to be replaced, I think 2 years from now. We just spent $48,000 to refurb it, but we're going to extend that for 3 years. So, those are the types of things that I think, based on the inflationary costs of new equipment, in some cases may make sense, some cases they may not, but did you have member from McNabb-Braeside?
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've got another question more on the capital side. So we've been maybe this is for the CAO, but through you, Chair, anyway. The discussions we've been having around the development charge and the growth-related capital costs. I don't see that referenced here. Perhaps it'll be Finance and Admin Committee, I don't know, but I'm just wondering, are those, is that going to just be ongoing discussions, or is that going to be included in the 2024 budget process, where, you know, how close are we to coming to a motion one way or the other on the development charges, be it countywide or corridor or not at all, or what have you, and the follow-up discussion to that as to, you know, what those funds are specifically going to be earmarked for. I'm just wondering if that's going to be continued, just worked on in 2024, or if the intention is to come to some sort of conclusion before the 2024 budget is set.
I'd be pleased to throw that over to Mr. Kelly.
I'd be pleased to throw to someone else. So as we talked about last week, and through you, Chair, as we talked about last week, the discussion about development charges will take place after the budget is workshopped in January. I believe February is when we're going to bring that back. So at this point, a reminder, we asked all municipalities across the county for their possible growth-related projects that may be on county-related infrastructure. We received that list. That wasn't included in that list of possibilities that went out in previous packages. Fulsome or not, it's what we have. And none of those will be considered as part of the capital budget in 2024 because we have not been directed to include those in any 2024 levied growth projects, right? So to be clear. So even if, well, we'd all, I think, like to come to ground on a decision on development charges, and we'd like to see that in February or March. And then that would be up to council to earmark those funds for whatever growth-related projects they see. Now, mind you, in 2024, we will see barely a nickel to fund any of those activities. It'll take quite some time to build up that bank to help us pay for any of those very large ticket items. So again, early Q1 is when we'd like to come to ground on the DC. So not really part of Mr. Perkins and department's report. It will find its way into a final business case for the entire corporation, more likely to fall into like a finance and administration type of considered motion at that point.
Thank you for that. Anything further, member from McNair? Or let me go to Warden Emo first, please.
Yeah, thank you. Just two comments, two observations. One is just to tag on to what Mr. Kelly said about the development charges process. It's going, in fairness to committees, it's probably going to rest with me, and Mr. Kelly to introduce something to council. And as he said in Q1, I think it's going to have to be consolidated and a fairly comprehensive response that gives it a fair chance of being debated and then decided upon once and for all. So I think realistically it has to rest with me and by extension Mr. Kelly with input from all the senior managers. So we're going to end up taking ownership of it. I don't know if Mr. Kelly likes that, but that's just kind of the reality of it today. So just as an update on that, and then next just the business case and the 2024 considerations and opportunities. I really like, it's no secret I like this because I think we have to measure what we do and then set the parameters to measure what we're going to do. And these two documents allow us to do that. And I like the embracement of technology for on the ground things, and then the analytics and the digital the reference to digital infrastructure. So I think those are all important, and they're, those are trends that are across this part of the sector on a regular basis. We're seeing things, whether it's through some of the what used to be called magazines, but newsletters that we get, and then also when we go to conferences, we're hearing more and more about it. So, I'm glad to see that it's identified. These are the trends that we should be tracking and bringing into our daily business. So thank you for this. Very, very impressed with it. It's a nice document, and as my grandpa used to say, you should always look in the mirror when you're going forward, because then you know where you came from, and you'll know the mistakes you made or the changes you need to make in direction. So I really like this process, and congratulations to the CAO and his management team for putting together these documents across all of the committees. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Member from McNabb Braeside.
Thank you, Chair. And just to follow up somewhat on my previous question. So with respect to the growth-related projects, I'm just wondering where uploading the Campbell Drive and other requests that have come along the way, where they're going to fit in, because again, it's unlike Edie Daniel interchange, which was directly related to some housing growth. This is growth of infrastructure, the 4-lane highway, and for whatever reason, just the road rationalization isn't lined up, but that's an important infrastructure growth, the 4-lane highway. So what will it take to get those types of projects, the uploading to line up with the road rationalization policy onto, at least onto growth-related list of projects, and because I haven't seen it there yet.
Okay. Mr. Perkins.
Oh, thank you, Chair, and through you to the Councillor from McNabb Braeside. Right now, the two that are in the queue are Campbell Drive in McNabb Braeside and Letts Cemetery in North Algoma Wilberforce. What we've brought back to committee a few months ago was we're going to pause these requests until our transportation master plan is completed. We're going to see what falls out from that, but at that time, we will bring both those requests forward with recommendations either for or against, and it'll be up to committee then to recommend the county council if they want to assume those projects or not. But it'll be late 2024 before our transportation master plan's in our hands. So, but we're just paused the requests. They're not forgot about, they're just paused.
Okay, thank you for that. Anything further on the 2024 business plan? Mayor Wilmer.
Thank you very much, Chair. I just have a comment to make, and I'd like to say thank you to Lee, Taylor, and Daryl for the job they did on the Etmansky Swamp culvert. Lee has explained some of it, but it was pretty amazing because we were prepared for the worst. We learned about it about a year, maybe a year and a half ago, and the plan was to reroute all traffic from a fairly major or busy highway through our residential areas and along the lakeshore. And by doing it the way they did with the liner, it was quite amazing. Virtually nobody even knew that it was that something was going on. And this is a culvert that's right beside two schools, including the high school, and it certainly made it a much better project. And I just want to say well done, and we were very happy with the way it was handled. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I think the use of newer technologies and newer processes can be helpful for sure. So yeah, thanks to everybody involved in that for sure. Anything further on the budget and 2024 business plan? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. And we will move on to item number 6, bylaws. Mr. Perkins.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and thank you, committee, and through you. So item 6 is PW 21, entrance policy and design guidelines. So the recommendation here is that the Operations Committee recommends that County Council adopt a bylaw approving policy PW21, entrance policy and design guidelines, and further that bylaw 3298, being a bylaw to regulate the construction or alteration of any entranceways, private roads, or access to a county road be rescinded.
Thank you for that. Can I get a mover and seconder for the recommendation? Moved by the member from Horton, seconded by the member from Armpire. Mr. Perkins.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to committee again. Thankfully, this is another one that Evelyn Van Starkenberg found for us. So this was originally a 1998 bylaw, 3298, and that was to regulate the construction or alteration of any entranceways, private roads, or access to a county road was adopted. This bylaw is no longer applicable, as it includes county roads and fees that were incorrect. So policy PW21, which is the entrance policy and design guidelines attached as Appendix 6, has been in place for many years. However, it's not included as part of the corporate policies for the Public Works and Engineering. So staff are recommending that policy PW21 be adopted as a corporate policy to replace the bylaw 3298. Thank you.
Comments or questions? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. Now we'll move on to the item number 7, the Capital Works Division report. Mr. Hanrath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee. Item number 1 is an information item, the 2023 Capital Division recap. If committee will permit me, I'll share my screen. So further to the business case provided by Director Perkins, this is a bit of a recap on the Capital Works Division's accomplishments over 2023, and I'll just run through some slides here. So as committee is aware, we underwent a restructuring for the Public Works Department in 2023. We're joined by 3 new staff members, a civil designer, a 3rd engineering technician, and a operations coordinator. As well, the part-time administrative 2 position is now a full-time position, and this is all in an effort to bring more works internal as far as design and inspection goes to realize savings for the county on our capital projects going forward. As well, under administrative changes, the department assumed responsibility for the trails going forward. So Anthony Hobbs, our trails coordinator, joined our department from development and property as well. So under corridor control and infrastructure management, as Director Perkins indicated, we enacted a new permit central system this year, moving all of our permit processing and applications online. Using this system, our infrastructure technician, Nathan Kuyak, processed more than 300 permit applications to date and is expected to have more before the end of the year. We enacted a new billboard policy, which committee may recall, and have started our transportation master plan as being overseen by infrastructure coordinator Jason Porteous. He also oversaw the completion of OSIM inspections on more than 150 county structures, as well as all of the trail structures and several culverts from a local municipality as well. We also had almost 600 kilometers of road inspected this year through Jason as well. So under roads, 42.7 kilometers is projected to be completed this year. I'll note that 31.2 kilometers were designed and inspected internally, and though the technical staff have now moved under the Capital Works Division, all of this was completed under Manager of Operations Richard Bolduc's oversight prior to the restructuring. In total, the overall projected cost for roads this year is $23,854,022. So I'll highlight some of the projects that were completed this year. As committee may recall, the county contributed to the Town of Armpire's project to realign the Daniel Street, Edie, and Galvin intersection. Some of the photos of the finished product are shown here. The county completed the rehabilitation of County Road 508, This was a pulverize and pave project on this section that's shown here. And this is one that was designed and inspected internally. However, Kavanaugh Construction was the contractor for the project. The reconstruction of County Road 512, Foymount Road, commenced. The consultant designing this project was BT Engineering, and the contractor undertaking the work is Bonisher Excavating Incorporated, or BEI. Much of the road has been reconstructed to date, and it is planned that only approximately less than 2 kilometers would be reconstructed next year, and it was already planned to be a 2-year project. In addition to this, the Harrington Creek Bridge will be replaced next year as part of this project as well. County Road 517, Defoe Road, was rehabilitated this year as well. This was a base and surface project, so we pulverized the road, did some base repairs in some locations. If you look on the right side of the road, there was some rock that was required to be removed, and rather than the traditional hole ramming, which after the first day was noted that progression was fairly slow, low impact blasting took place as part of the project. County Road 635, Swisher Road. This is where a drainage system was replaced this year. This project was completed by our day labor staff and designed internally. So the culvert you see in the bottom photo is the finished product. In place prior to construction was a manhole on the upstream side, which was approximately 6 meters deep, and above the manhole was approximately 7 meters of fill as well. So in all, the drainage pipe itself had almost 15 meters of cover, and rather than go in and replace the manhole, which was in severely poor condition, and replace the drainage culvert, which was again in severely poor condition and had started to cause road issues above, we came up with a plan to seal off the manhole and the existing drain and install a cross culvert at a slightly higher elevation with erosion protection, as you've seen in the bottom picture, which is the outlet. So some of the bridges that were completed in 2023, 3 were rehabilitated. 1 will carry over, which is the Harrington Creek Bridge on Foymount Road. That is just a result of the progression, or the planned progression by the contractor. They wanted to do the bridge next year in conjunction with more of the road reconstruction. In all, we're projected to spend approximately $2.6 million on bridge rehabilitation projects. So shown here is B044, or Douglas Bridge, which was rehabilitated this year. Rehabilitation included removing the existing asphalt, scarifying the concrete deck, applying a concrete overlay, waterproofing, and paving, as well as significant repairs to the barriers and to the abutments as well. Shown here is B310, Ski Hill Bridge. Similar to Douglas Bridge, this one was remove the existing asphalt and waterproofing, scarify, concrete overlay. However, this one incorporated some more significant full depth concrete replacement patching. Structural culverts, so these are culverts with a span greater than 3 meters that were completed in 2023. 7 in total were completed. 6 of these were constructed by the county's internal staff, and 3 were designed by the county's internal staff. In total, we're projecting to spend approximately $3.4 million on these projects. C115 is Dunlop Crescent Twin Culverts. This is a unique project. As you may see, this is the new rehabilitated or replaced culverts, and there's still snow on the ground. So because this area is controlled primarily by the dams on the Ottawa River, we had to time the project so that replacement took place during low water levels at the end of March and early April. So we brought in our day labor crew and designed the replacement internally, and were able to complete it while water levels were low to minimize the need for a coffer and complete it at a lower cost. This took extensive coordination with DFO as well as OPG in order to ensure we were in line with the fish in-water work window as well as with the water levels. Shown here is C168 Lake Clear Tri-Culverts. As committee may recall, this one was moved up into the 2023 program this year as some sinkholes have been occurring above it. Though this may look like a liner, only one end is technically considered a liner. So this project in particular, there is, as you can see, steel cutoff walls. These are meant as ice dams for the culverts to keep the ends from being crumpled by the ice moving around in the spring. In order to negate the need for replacing these, as they were in relatively good condition, the end of the pipes were lined with the replacement pipe, and the replacement pipe goes the full length. In particular, some of the challenges with this one was the need to maintain traffic over the culverts. Luckily, we were able to do so without the need for the county's Lessard Bridge, which would have added significant cost. As you can see here, there was also steel sheet piling installed temporarily in order to dewater the excavation area and allow the day labor crew to complete this project in a timely manner without having to worry about extensive water infiltration. Projects that's been brought up a few times today, C197 at Mansky Swamp Culvert, which was rehabilitated this year. To identify some more of the challenges that were associated with this culvert, it was flagged for rehabilitation 2 years ago. However, the consultant doing the design identified that was under reinforced for the amount of fill that was over top of it, which is approximately 9 meters of fill over top of the culvert here. So it got flagged for replacement. However, whenever the replacement started to be looked at as a viable design option, Bell Canada identified that they had a concrete encased duct that is approximately 7.5, 8 meters above the pipe, which would have had to been supported through the excavation throughout the project. The excavation itself would have been about 27 meters wide. So as committee can imagine, supporting a concrete encased duct for that length can be quite cumbersome and challenging and quite costly as well. So our now current civil designer, Justin Schauer, began researching options for this culvert and came across this liner option, which was undertaken by MTO in a couple of their projects near the Hamilton area. And as Lee alluded to, as it's a potentially high risk of extra cost project, the day labor crew was assigned it and were able to complete it on time and slightly under budget. And if I may draw your attention, so in this picture, the grout is being poured in between the liner and the existing concrete box. As you may see, some pipes sticking out. This is to allow air to escape where the grout is being placed. Whenever grout started coming out of each of these, they would be blocked, and we could confirm that the grout was flowing throughout the pipe. As I noted earlier, the Public Works Department undertook the trails at the start of 2023. In all, approximately 12.3 kilometers of new build trail has been completed. Unfortunately, only 2 kilometers of that can be opened publicly at the end of this year. However, the plan is to open the entirety of that section come approximately mid to end 2024. An additional 10 kilometers was rehabilitated as well. In all, we're projecting to spend, sorry, there's a typo here, but we're projected to spend approximately $1.6 million in capital on the trail by the end of this year. Some of the highlights from the trail works that were completed. So as committee's aware, the section through the garrison is technically a new build. We weren't permitted on the rail bed in this area. So it's approximately 15.3 kilometers long in total. And if you look at the top, the committee can see the forestry tiller that was approved to move forward this year. This is a result of the county not being permitted to remove trees from the location. So rather than remove these trees and woody vegetation, they were tilled into the ground, approximately 100 mils, and we built over top of them, as you can see in the bottom photo. Another highlight is the Highway 17 overpass, which had new barriers installed this year. This project also had a contribution from the Ontario Federation of Snowmobile Clubs in the amount of $50,000, which was a great partnership, and we hope to keep partnering on trails projects going forward with them, as well as Renfrew County ATV Club, in order to keep building the trail and rehabilitating going forward. And I'll stop there, Chair, and then if there are any questions about that item.
Okay. Thank you for that. We'll move back to, yeah, that's fine. So this item, item A, the administrative part of it, any comments or questions? Item B, the corridor control and infrastructure management. Item C, the roads. Item D, structures. And item E, trails. Seeing none, we will move on to resolutions.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, item number 2 is a resolution, Haley Station Always Stop Warrant, County Road 61, Haley Road at Godfrey Road. And the recommendation is that the Operations Committee recommends to County Council that the Township of Whitewater Region be notified that the intersection of County Road 61, Haley Road and Godfrey Road with Haley Road and Fire Hall Lane does not meet the warrants for an all-way stop.
Thank you. Can I get a mover and seconder for the recommendation? Moved by the member from Laurentian Valley, seconded by the member from McNabb Braeside. And some background?
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee. So infrastructure technician Nathan Kuyak completed a turning movement count at this location per the requirements of Ontario Traffic Manual Book 5 and identified that the intersection does not meet the warrants as per the appendix included as well.
Thank you for that. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the recommendation? And that is carried. And now we will move along to 7C, the Operations Division's report. Mr. Balduke.
Thank you, Chair Doncaster, and to committee. Present the Operations Division report for November. Under information item number 1 is the operational status and winter readiness. Just to let you know, as per the winter maintenance operating guidelines that were approved a few years ago, the Operations Division is required to be 50% ready by November 1st. And typically we're 100% ready. This year it was close, but we came in on schedule for what we would like to achieve is 100% on October 31st. Item number 2 is winter maintenance agreements. This will be a follow-up to a previous committee where there was a total of 5 maintenance agreements and 2 outstanding. So we managed to finalize the two final agreements, one for County Road 635 with Pat Stewart Trucking Incorporated, and these are 1-year terms for that. And also the Town of Arnprior, we received the go-ahead for the 2023-2024 season, so that one's completed. And just of note, there's 2 facility rental agreements that were completed as well. And that's it for the information items. Bylaws next.
Thank you for that. I'll move back to information item number 1. Any comments or questions? Item number 2, winter maintenance agreements. Any comments or questions? And we shall move on to item number 3, bylaws. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Warden.
Warden Nemo. My
Thank you. Sorry, item number 2, no problem. The question is, it says completed for both of those contracts. Does that mean we're not renewing them, or we're going to do them ourselves, or they're no longer needed because something's happened?
So my understanding was the agreements are completed, so we're moving forward with them?
Oh, so completed in terms of they've been written and signed and agreed upon. Okay.
Correct.
Sorry, I understood completed as in fini, done. So my apologies.
No, okay, so completed, executed, so.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Item number 3, bylaws. Mr. Balduke.
Thank you, Chair Doncaster, and through you. Item number 3 is PWO 2023-10, wheeled excavator and attachments. The recommendation that Operations Committee recommends that County Council approve the bid submitted by Tarmont Cat, Ottawa, Ontario, for the acquisition of one wheeled excavator and required attachments in the amount of $533,424 plus applicable taxes, and further that County Council adopt a bylaw to authorize the execution of the contract.
Thank you for that. Can I get a mover and a seconder for the recommendation? Moved by the member from Armpire, seconded by the member from McNabb Braeside. I guess I'll give you the background first.
Thank you again, Chair Doncaster, and to committee. The background for this acquisition is that we use the canoe procurement program, and we distributed the specifications to two suppliers. We received two bids. Unfortunately, one was rejected. The bid that met all the requirements was Tormont Cat, Ottawa, Ontario, for an amount of $606,287. And just to go through more background on the financial implications is that part of this tender, there were various implements that were tendered. We looked at the budget, and the approved budget for two of the items was $550,000. That is the wheeled excavator and the brusher attachment. And we also require the ditching bucket. So the ditching bucket and the wheeled excavator met the, and also the forestry head. We can purchase those for the amount of $550,000 as outlined, and we'd like to use the surplus. Actually, that will actually cover the requirements for this contract. So if you have any questions, I'd be pleased to detail them.
Okay, any questions or comments with respect to the recommendation? Ward Nemo.
So I don't know whether I'm reading things properly today or not, but I'm going to ask this question. So it says 606,287, and then the end amount is 533,424, and so. Did we not get some stuff, or did they come back with a better offer? So I'm just a little confused how we got from 606 down to 533, which I'm very pleased with. So I just need a little explanation there so I understand that.
Thanks for the question. Mr. Balduke.
Thank you, Chair Doncaster, and to the warden's question. Yeah, sorry for the confusion, but the total bid was $606,287. We wanted to stay within budget, and we looked at a couple of the items that we felt weren't mandatory at this time. So the mandatory items are the brusher head and the ditching bucket, and we can get that and the wheeled excavator for the $550,000 as outlined. The frost bucket and grapple, we feel we could rebudget for that in the few years, because we do have one wheel excavator with a grapple now, and we currently use that for removing beaver dams. So we do have one in the operation, and we feel we can get by with that for now and rebudget for the grapple and frost bucket at a different time. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for that. I guess the follow-up question that I had for that was, does changing, I guess, basically the attachments, does that materially change the original tender that was put out?
Through you, Chair Doncaster, to yourself and to committee, no, we used the tender was broken down into all the components, so we're only looking at award for the certain components.
Okay, thank you for that. Member from Armpire.
Thank you, Chair. The trailer that we have, will this excavator fit on it?
I don't know. Mr. Balduke.
Yeah. Through Chair Doncaster to Councillor Lynch. Great question. The new float will fit, and that was one of the items with the rejected item. It wouldn't fit. We would have to look at oversized permits by moving this around. So that, so again, great question, and yes, it will move both of our current wheeled excavator and this one if it's approved.
turned myself off. Thank you for that. Anything further on item number 3? If not, I will call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. At this time, I would entertain a motion to accept the report as a whole. Moved by the member from Laurentian Valley, seconded by the member from Horton. Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that is carried. Is there any new business for committee today? Seeing none. There's no closed meeting today that I'm aware of. The date of our next meeting will be, I guess, after the inauguration, or our inaugural meeting in December. So I guess January, sometime in January. And then obviously County Council, November 29th. At this point, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by the member from Horton, seconded by the member from McNabb-Braeside. All those in favor? And that is carried. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.